Yes.
It's all about travel, isn't it? And so
Yes.
perhaps maybe people don't notice when they travel, or maybe you do, the people that have disabilities. And have you ever thought about those people and how what they got to do to get where they need to go? Welcome back to another episode of Rhythm and Rome. I'm Benef, and I'm here with my co-hosts Paul and Trecia, and we are so excited to have you. This is our podcast where we talk about our travel adventures and those cultural interactions that we encounter, whether it's the differences, the similarities, or the misconceptions, and all the craziness in between. We talk about it here on this show. How is
Woohoo.
everyone doing?
Can't
Doing
complain. Can't
good.
complain. The weather finally
Yeah,
is beautiful here in Paris, so I can't complain too much.
it's nice here too in Colorado as well. And I know it's,
Yes.
well, you're in Austin, so I'm sure it's hot.
Well, yep, you'll notice the different picture in the background here. So
Yeah.
yes, yeah, I'm in Austin today. It's a little overcast, but we've had some great sunshine, so it's good for them here. The lake's been really low, so it's
I
good
love
to
I love
have some of the
Austin. It's
water.
a beautiful
Yeah,
Me
city.
too. We need to go there.
Yeah.
definitely.
Travel destination.
I keep trying to
Well,
tell you, come visit me.
Yes.
it's all about travel, isn't it? And so
Yes.
perhaps maybe people don't notice when they travel, or maybe you do, the people that have disabilities. And have you ever thought about those people and how what they got to do to get where they need to go? Um,
Yep.
I know I haven't that often.
Yeah.
Um, I think the only
Yeah.
time I ever felt disabled was when I had broken my foot and had to be in a wheelchair, had to go to my cousin's wedding. So at the airport, going around, and yeah, people don't seem to notice. Like I think people in general are in their own freaking bubble, head
Hmm.
bubble when they travel and not paying attention to anyone else, regardless, even if you're like standing. But when you're in a wheelchair, they damn sure ain't paying attention. And I can't tell you how many times people like knocked my foot, like the foot that's like
Mm.
sticking out in the fucking cast, they knocked around. And I'm like, ow. Or they try to cram into the
Hmm.
elevator. And I'm like, you can walk. Like, use the escalator. Why are you trying to cram in here with your luggage that's, again, hitting my foot? And
Yeah,
that
Laziness.
was
yeah.
temporary,
Yeah.
so
Well,
I
I've
can't.
always wondered though, is that an age thing? I mean, because maybe because you didn't like look temporary. You know what I mean? It didn't necessarily look,
Yeah,
you injured yourself,
perhaps.
but and then your age perhaps different than someone who maybe have a lost limb or maybe someone who's older,
Yeah.
elderly. I always wondered that, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
interesting.
for me, and we, like you said, Benef, we all have seen it before, where we're traveling and stuff like this, and you come across someone in a cast. I too traveled while I was in a cast when I ruptured my Achilles and stuff like this too as well. And it could be interesting because you're afraid of people bumping into you, but the fact that you have your bags still, you're by yourself for one, at least I was.
Oh,
And and it
Imagine.
sucks. You have your backpack and
yeah.
you still have your roller bag and
No
you're still
kidding.
trying to.
Or you were like crutching along with a roller
I
bag.
well, I tried and I was like, no, this is not, because we government employees, so we don't want nobody helping us. But I didn't.
Oh,
I
so
end
it
up
was a vanity thing for you then.
Yeah, and I end up getting, yes, I end up getting what do you call it? One of those people in the wheel with the wheelchair thingy, and they kind of did it. But I then felt like, okay, this is embarrassing for me because I know I don't need it. And I felt
But you
like
did
I
need
should.
it. You
I
absolutely
know, but
needed
in
the
my
help.
Yeah.
mind,
Oh, yeah.
because it's a
Okay. Okay.
wheelchair and just the whole
Right.
concept and stuff like this. So um
Yeah.
it is an important question, and I didn't realize how important it is because I never thought of it the
But
way
yeah, you
how.
bring up a good point. Like, yeah, mentally, I kind of felt like there was, something wrong with me, and now I gotta
Yeah,
have
yeah.
these people escorting me around the airport, and
Hmm.
yeah, like it did kind of feel or I allowed it to feel a little bit
Right. Like people are
degrading.
looking at me when I
Yeah.
shouldn't
That was
be
going
in
to say too,
there.
the attention
Mhm.
too, drawing that attention to you when
Exactly.
a lot of times, when you travel, you try to blend in and assimilate. So how do you do that being
Yes.
disabled?
I wanted to talk about this topic too as well. And I have to give kudos to um, a good friend of mine who I went to college with, Lanita, who brought up the idea of talking about, missing the aspect of talking about folks who travel who are disabled. And I didn't even, that's when I said I didn't even really think about that. And I say it's near and dear to me because I also have a family member, my brother, who is also disabled, confined to a wheelchair as well. And even then, I'm like, God, I never thought about like travel and stuff and how much of a, preparation things have to be. So I had the great opportunity to speak with Lanita friend, who, his name is Anton, who is disabled from the chest down, and got some really, really important. I mean, he's on like a crusade, I feel like, to get the word out there that, hey, you know, um, people with disability do travel. Here's what you need to do. And I think this, if there's anything we should take away, and I hope to God that people who are listening or watching, will listen to his information that he
Well,
gives,
and I don't know why. Like, what is it about people with disabilities that makes me
because you're afraid
uncomfortable?
that
Like,
you might say the wrong thing or you might do the
yeah,
wrong thing. I
yeah,
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think you nailed it there, Paul.
Yeah.
I think we feel insecure. Isn't that funny? We feel insecure and they're the ones with the disability.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah. That's
Because
this is exactly
ludicrous.
what
Yeah.
Anton was describing. I don't do it any justice with my talk, but hearing his words was the case.
I'm Anton Clifford. I'm a C4, C5 quadriplegic. I'm paralyzed from my chest down. I'm a quadriplegic C4, C5, and I'm from Atlanta. I mean, both my parents were military. My mom is from Jamaica. And I became paralyzed at the age of 16. I was a passenger in a car accident in Jamaica while visiting family over there. So yeah, that's what I mean. And also, I'm an actor too. I'm big on disability advocation. I want to just
Amen.
represent the disabled community in a positive way. Yeah, that's
Amen.
basically what I'm out there doing, really.
What movies have you been a part of thus far that you can share?
I can share the movie that's coming out next too. It's called Takeover with Billy Zane, and Quavo is going to be in it as well. I play a character named Wrench.
Mm-hmm.
It should be coming out next 2-3 months, hopefully. I've
Okay.
done
On what? Netflix or the big screen?
maybe Netflix. I'm guessing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's coming on Netflix. But I've done Queen Sugar. A lot of people know that show. It's on Hulu.
Yep. I know it very well.
Nickelodeon. Done voiceover work for Google.
Okay.
Pilot with NBC. Done couple commercials and stuff like that. So
definitely am aware of Queen Sugar and stuff like that on Hulu, and I actually like their show and stuff like that too as well.
So season 5, episode 9, if anybody wants to watch me.
So Anton, tell me, what inspired you to start traveling?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, when I first became paralyzed at the age of 16, my first flight was actually 5 months after I got out of the hospital. I had to go to fly to Shriners Children's Hospital, which is near Camden, New Jersey. It's in Philadelphia.
Yep.
So that was my first experience really being in a wheelchair, having to travel to a different state. And I mean, I didn't like the way they managed my wheelchair. Actually, it broke the first time I traveled. When I got to Philadelphia, I had to get a loaner chair, what they call a loaner chair, from a different place because they jumped into my wheelchair and tried to drive it, and ended up breaking it.
Now, was this and pardon me for being maybe ignorant about this? Was it they were just trying to make fun and drive it, or were they just lazy to put it on the damn plane?
Lazy. That's it. I don't think they were trying to have fun. Maybe they did enjoy it a little bit. Maybe they did.
and because they were either being lazy or trying to be fun. Look at me with the remote chair and everything like that too as well. So
okay, I cannot believe that these jokers broke his flipping wheelchair.
It's
like that's absurd.
God.
first of all, why are you in it writing it? First of all?
Yeah, I mean, they should not be writing it. I would
that
be
is
like
disrespectful.
horribly embarrassed, exactly, to see an airport employee do that.
I mean, you should be fired right then and there, honest to God, because it's just, you're literally, and then the fact that he says, I forget, what did he say, that he has to put on there, you know, do not ride, these are my legs, or something
those
like
are
this.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Like,
That he has to
people-
note that.
yes.
I just,
Yeah.
and I mean,
The
he
fact that
wasn't
you're the
sure.
note that it's disrespectful in itself.
Like he said it, he thought it wasn't like for fun, but being lazy is just as bad. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And then
it's
like it's broken,
There's nothing
and now
fun
he
about
can't
that. I'm sorry.
freaking walk, or he can't get around. Like, what?
Yeah.
Or what
And
is
it's
he supposed to do with
interesting
that?
because I just recently, actually, I just heard something that happened in Florida where a man was traveling in his wheelchair. It's one of the remote wheelchairs, like Anton's, and the airline not only broke it, but they lost his wheelchair
Oh my God.
on his final destination. So when he got to his final destination, he had nothing. And it was just like, well, what do you do then? And this is the stuff that
Well, and what does the airline do? I mean, because if they lose your luggage, it's like
they
a
said
dog
that
and
they're
pony show.
looking for it. They're investigating and looking for it. That's
Really?
exactly what they.
But are they
And
gonna rent him a wheelchair to get around in the meantime? I mean,
that's a good question. You would think, right?
No, you would think so. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, that is something that has to be discussed. I mean, people, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm angry. I can't even form thoughts.
I no, and that's the problem is, we can say, yeah, they can rent him another one, but you got to also remember those remote,
they're custom. Yeah, a lot of
No, they're
exactly,
custom
custom
made.
because
Yes,
my brother's
custom
is
made.
custom made, and it's custom made to their body and stuff like this
Right.
too as well. So yes, you can get a temporary fix, but it's going to be so inconvenient for the person that's in the. I'm still stuck on the fact that people have the audacity, because they don't want to roll it to where they need to get it to ride in his wheelchair.
Yeah,
that is so
it's
wild.
messed up. It's messed up.
I mean, it just drives me nuts. And then I think about,
It's not one of those shopping carts at Walmart where it's,
No.
one size fits any. You know what I mean? It's just it's just blatant disrespect.
It's total disrespect. And and this is the things that if I'm a betting man, most people do not think about.
No,
Because-
most able-bodied people are not thinking about
Not gonna
those
thinking
with
about that.
disabilities.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because we're because we can walk around, we just trap ourselves with the other bullshit of that we deal with traveling. So
this would be a very interesting thing to bring up. I mean, I know all of us have someone that that's in the airline industry. This would be a very good question, I think, that I would want to ask. How does your company deal with it? Or even, because I mean, I have a pilot, a friend who's a pilot, he's a captain. I'm going to ask him, how do they deal with situations, like this, where if there's a lost wheelchair, or there's a lost, something that has to do with someone, who's disabled, what they do. And then maybe we can write up something in the blog about that and kind of
absolutely.
get some feedback.
And I hear the preparation that Anton says that he has to go through.
Well, honestly, my thing is really communication. Before I travel nowadays, so my chair doesn't get, try my best not to have my chair broken. I try to get there first, early, so they can have my chair and the plane sitting upwards instead of sideways. Because when all the luggage starts to get there and it gets crowded and down there in the plane, they're gonna have no choice but to put your wheelchair sideways.
Yeah.
At that point, you're gonna break it. I mean, it's hard not to break it.
Right. No.
So I do that, and I put a sign that says, I wrap my joystick with saran wrap. And I put a little sticky note that says, "This is my legs."
Oh man! So obviously, this stopped folks from trying to ride your wheelchair just to have a joyride kind of thing, and hopefully it makes them, more guilty if they end up doing something like this or
exactly. Really do your research on the destination before you go. And if you have to know your disability. Maybe if you're a paraplegic, you don't have to have a wheelchair vehicle to lift you up. You can just slide into a regular car with a sliding board and go in there. But if you're somebody like me that uses a big electric wheelchair, you're most likely going to want a car to a bus to transport you away. If you're going to a third world country, you have to make sure you have that intact before you get there. You have to make sure you explain that to them. Mostly in America, you'll be able to find it. Like any place you travel in America, you can get a bus and yada 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 where it can take a big wheelchair and everything like that. But if I'm going to Jamaica, I have to make sure my transportation is good.
Yeah, because Jamaica is not the same as the States, that's for sure. Yeah, so clearly what Anton just mentioned about the preparation work. I mean, think about that. We don't even think about that. We just go through our La La Land and just.
Well, I mean, I put in a lot of preparation when I plan, but nothing compared to that. I will never complain about making my little list again.
Because it's not always guaranteed that if what he needs is going to be available, especially if it's
exactly
that's
correct.
The
traveling.
Biggest, that's the caveat right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And just getting from the wheelchair, I guess. So they've already taken his motorized wheelchair away. So now he's in a different wheelchair that they're putting him on the plane. And then they got to transfer him from that to the seat. And because he doesn't have the core ability, like people don't realize that. They think, oh, he's sitting, so his legs don't work.
And this is I think he also mentioned.
Too, like I've had crazy stories where I've unfortunately had my head rocked because communication wasn't there. Like the guys that they have sometimes.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said you had your head dropped?
Yeah, like knocked against the wall and stuff like that.
Whoa!
Like because the guy that was transferring me didn't speak English that well, so he didn't understand my disability. He thought because I'm paralyzed and he sees me in a wheelchair sitting up straight that I could hold my upper body up all the way with myself. He didn't know I didn't have I'm paralyzed my chest down, so I don't have the core control. So he didn't speak. I mean, of course, he didn't speak English as well.
That's crazy. And well, obviously, you're better and you're well and stuff like this, and you didn't have to go to the hospital or anything like that after that.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, thank God for that too as well.
Different levels of handling, different types of spinal injuries.
Yes.
And so you can't just be, and I don't know how trained those airport porters really are.
That's a good point.
They are not. That's the problem. That's an $8 an hour job. That's nothing.
Okay. So they're just literally like wheelchair to gate 17.
That's what they're well, regardless of the wage capacity of it. I think anyone that's within customer service that has to deal with this should have basic knowledge of this type of training, because you're going to get folks that are like this.
You would think, but I don't know that they are the airport in general, because these are like airport service people are anticipating. Right. I think they're thinking wheelchair for some elderly person that can't walk.
Well, not necessarily, because if you remember, Anton says that he has to plan way in advance. So way in advance, he has to tell the airport and the airline all these different aspects or things that he's needing. Of course, he has his people that he travel with. And go ahead, Trecia. Sorry.
Well, no, I'm sorry. What I was saying is that the only way that I got actually a glimpse of this is when I was taking my mother traveling when we were going overseas, and we were going through Heathrow. To me, they were the most comprehensive that I've seen thus far, as far as looking through. As far as, would you need transportation? Do you need help from your car to the airport, to within the airport itself? While you're there, do you need help from the ticket gate it was every plan that they needed, what type of service you were going to need. And that was the first time that I'd seen anything so comprehensive.
Yeah.
So I'd seen that. I in the US, I've never seen that ever. I've seen, yes, where you can have the porter, whatever. But even then, the motorized vehicle that they have to take, maybe 2 or 3 of those, maybe 4 of those, and they don't even have a horn. So the time the guy that's driving it is saying beep beep to get through, through traffic. So
like physically saying beep beep.
Yes, saying beep beep. Like excuse me. Good God.
I could tell you. I could tell you that at least here, I have not seen in at least the airports in Paris. unless Benef, you have seen it, or Tricia.
No,
while
well,
you guys
we
have
had talked
traveled,
about Paris before not having
Paris is don't
any
care.
sort of ADA
Accommodation.
Remember
Yeah.
we were
No.
on the metro,
No.
and I was like, you see all these stairs?
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
going up them like
Elevator for
so I
anyone.
don't, and in fact I don't know, like that would be really interesting to, if that's someplace that he wants to go and
Yeah.
eventually, like how would he get around?
And that's
It's certainly not taking the
that's
subway. I mean,
well, no.
Well,
They
and-
do have ways, because to their defense, they do have the Paralympics that are here this year. So they,
so are they like making stuff,
Yeah,
retrofitting
they
stuff?
are.
That's what I was gonna say.
no,
Yeah.
they are, and I'm sure they're making things, because come to think of it, I just recently been through the airport, and there's a lot of construction going on at the airport. So I'm wondering if that construction
Perhaps.
is to
I'm sure.
build more type of things for it being more Paralympic capable and stuff.
Well,
like that.
that's like the airport and but like on the plane,
On the plane, he said, yeah,
there's
this is the cultural
nothing.
differences. There's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing. He has to,
unless it's a hospital plane.
yes.
And I think we also have to take in consideration too, is that, just as you would with children, the expense of what this must be, because if you're disabled and you're speaking on, God, God forbid you're traveling by yourself, but
Mhm.
now you have a handler, if you will, or someone, who hopefully is
gotta
familiar
travel
with
with you.
your disability. Now they
Yeah.
have to travel with you. That's another seat.
Yeah.
And
That's another.
that's what Anton says, because he does have someone
Right.
that travels with him. But to be honest with you, the fact that these airlines don't even have a handicap capable type of restraint,
No.
like he says in the interview, is that when the plane starts to land, because clearly he doesn't have the momentum,
The
to hold
core,
himself back.
the core
Yeah, the core
strength,
to
or
hold him
the
back.
ability. Yeah.
Somebody
So,
has
yeah,
to
nothing
literally brace him,
hold him back.
Right.
Yes.
yeah, so that he
Jeez.
doesn't
or he
fall
has that
forward.
belt, the gate
Yeah.
belt. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's if he's in business class, because they don't give you the.
No, but he
strap.
said he brings his own.
Oh, he brings one. That's correct. He did.
Yeah,
I
He
had to
did
look
say
it up
that.
because I didn't
Yeah.
know what it was.
Yeah.
And in fact, I had
Yes.
spelled it wrong. I spelled
Yeah.
it GATE, and it's not a gate. It's gate.
That's
Yeah.
how do you spell it?
GAIT. Gate
Okay.
belt.
Okay.
Gate belt, yeah. But gosh, I mean, to think this
Mhm.
is 2024.
Right.
And what is? I
Right.
mean, did we look this up? I don't even know. What is the population of?
That's a
we
good
should
question.
probably look this up of
Uh,
disabled, people, per capita of whatever country
Well,
or United States or.
and I think honestly, it's similar. Like every
Yeah.
group of people has to fight for their right to be heard. So you have people of color, and then you've got gay, lesbian, LGBTQ plus the
Yes.
queer community, and then now disabled
Right.
community. I mean, because the able-bodied people are running the governments.
Mhm.
Generally,
Right.
And
white
they don't
able-bodied
understand
people.
unless they are
No.
impacted by it. That's why I said, I kind of took a little bit of emotion to it, because I am impacted by it, because I have family member who is in Anton's position. It's just crazy
Mhm.
that we don't think about this
Yeah.
stuff. And I think we need to bring attention to this. And this is important, absolutely important for us to do. And I think this is one of those travel and culture topics that is, like Anton says, we need to bring this to light,
Agreed.
Awareness.
So, awareness. Thank you.
Yeah,
sure.
What changes would you like to see, when it comes to the travel industry, and, making it more inclusive for folks, accessibility, who needs accessibility?
The main thing I would do, I mean, especially for somebody like me, is they need to get the aisles ready where we can just stay in our wheelchair and just travel. That'll be like a subway. That's the main thing I would want,
Yeah.
honestly. So they don't have to waste the time having to call people to touch me.
Yeah.
I can go on the plane. I mean, I'll be the first person on the plane, first person off the plane. I mean, last person off the plane.
Yeah. And
Or,
you would
as
think,
a matter of fact, I could be the first person off the plane. Actually, if
Right.
I'm in, so I don't have to wait on people to pick me up and then put me in the
Mhm.
push chair to go in there.
Mhm. No, and you would think that this was already something that, Congress or just the government, federal government has already implemented, which is why I say I thought it was. And perhaps it's because, you see those wheelchairs that's sitting people, who are elderly or something like that. So in my mind, I'm thinking some of those people were people that were bound to wheelchairs and stuff like that too as well, but I was wrong and so on. But I'm hoping that this is something,
Yes.
This is just crazy to me.
You would think it would be done.
Yeah.
You would think that would be done already, right?
I would have. I mean, it's on subways. It's on certain buses.
Everywhere else. Everywhere else.
Why can't the planes have some configuration? I mean, how many disabled travelers are traveling on any given plane? They don't need to have 40 seats.
And that's the problem.
But it's that cost benefit. I mean, I don't know. Like
capitalism.
They do a row where you could actually have your own wheelchair secured into the plane. How much would that cost? Would that eat all their profits? They don't want to do it. I mean,
that's what
honestly,
it
is. And honestly, it would not, because even if the seat wasn't filled, they could, maybe you have, a storage, or with all the, the capabilities of technology, where it came, a seats could come out of the wall and they sit. So now that you could actually put an able-bodied person in there, or you pulled it up from the floor, or whatever it is.
We want to come out of the wall
technology.
Now. Shoot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But that's
like, or could fit out.
But that's the thing.
They could attach or detach where you could store, or
if they could make it safe, because they can't be rushing these things.
Obviously.
Well, here's the thing. These guys,
as it is, they need to clean the damn plane better now anyway. So it could, the time that it would take to do that, they could definitely make seats available.
Look,
so
I'm not even going to try to figure out a configuration, because these people get paid a lot of money.
They do.
To be able to do all this stuff. We just need to say, hey, look, and whether
that's right
whether it is designate these 3 seats as handicap with all the configuration, and then when there's nobody that is disabled that needs to be in that chair, it can be used for other
an
people.
able-bodied person. Absolutely.
It could be used for able-bodied, just like how we do in the trains. That can be done. And I think it's a matter of, to be honest with you, I don't think it's a matter of even changing the seats. It's just belts. It's a matter of securing different types of belt in certain configuration that makes sense. And then it's what's going to be used when the disabled person is going to be on the plane, versus when they're
maybe even the jump seat area, where you have and now you're maybe your flight attendants are now in the city that they need to be in, or your pilots or whatever, just to accommodate or make these changes. You can do it. It's just a matter of advocating for that.
Absolutely. What are some advice or anything you would want to say to people? And I'm not just talking about people that are bound to wheelchair, but I'm just talking about normal citizens as well. When it comes to, when they see folks with, maybe a disability of sort, or someone that's needing wheelchair accessibility.
Yeah, I would say observe and talk. Like, I mean, we're not aliens or anything like that. We're people like you. I mean, I was on my feet 16 years, so I can relate to being on my feet. I mean, we have feelings. We're human. We're just like you. We just may have a disability. We're just not able to move around like you. And then there's some people that are paralyzed that are on their feet mentally. So it's like, some of us are in the same boat. I don't consider myself paralyzed mentally, but I'm paralyzed physically. So I mean, if you see somebody that's disabled rolling on the street, say hi to them. I know sometimes people look at you. I don't have this happen to me too much anymore. But I'll go down there. I mean, when I first got paralyzed, you have people look away and just, they're scared. Like you see them start shaking when they see you. I mean, they figure they don't know what to say.
Yeah, no, I can totally.
Kids don't see that. Kids will come up to me and just give me a hug and just keep moving. I mean, the adults don't do that to me anymore. I don't really get that anymore. I got that when maybe the beginning stages. I don't know what it was, but maybe I wasn't smiling enough. I thought I was smiling enough.
No. I think what you said is on point, because you know, like I said to you before, you know, I can relate because I also have a brother who, you know, was paralyzed at the age of 16 as well. I respect everything that you had to say and what you're doing, because what you're doing is you're not letting, you know, your disability hold you back from doing what you wanted to do. So I appreciate that. And I hope, you know, others that will see this will realize, you know, I mean, because you encourage me for one, you know, and no, seriously, and mentally, because there are times that I'm like, man, I can't do this, or I can't, whatever. You know, as a military person, or
that's what I was gonna say. It means a lot coming from somebody that was in the military.
Yeah,
it means a lot.
And deploying and stuff like this, it means a lot to hear this, and it's just like, okay, you know, this is the motivation that you want to get and stuff like this. So I appreciate it. Sorry.
Thank you so much for listening to this very important topic, to bring awareness to the traveling challenges of disabled people. We hope that you liked our show. And if you did, please do like, comment, share with your friends, offer feedback for us. We love that. And subscribe. And we will see you next time.
Peace out.